Hello, hello, hello. How's it going out there? I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Mannimal Research. I am joined tonight, as always, by my partner in crime, man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ricky Weaver. Also tonight, we got the lovely and talented Mr. Blake Duckworth.
How's it going, guys?
How's it going, gentlemen?
Pretty good.
Going good,
Ricky,
Jack.
how's it going, buddy?
Hi, going great.
Good deal. We had a little bit of feedback coming in from somebody there. Y'all hear that?
I do not.
You hear anything, Ricky? You good?
No, huh?
Okay. All right. Well, maybe it's just on my end. Maybe the listeners can tell us if they hear it or not. Uh, all right. Thanks everybody for coming out here. We got a couple of our loyals already out there. Mr. Todd and the Scottish Wild Man are already here. We appreciate them stopping by. Fellas, y'all had a chance to get out and do anything this week?
I have not. I was going to go over to Johns Mountain on Tuesday or Wednesday, but I didn't end up getting out this week. Depending on what the weather looks like this week, I'm going to try to get out this week. Hopefully, Rick will go with me.
Ricky, what about you, buddy?
No, I haven't done a thing this week, Wayne. Other than stay on the computer. As Blake said, we'd planned on going out earlier in the week and doing a little scouting, but that kind of fell through. So I'm waiting on this next week. Hopefully we can get out Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday of this next week and do a little something. Blake, did you ever find out anything from the other guy you was talking to?
I have not heard back from him. He kind of went ghost on me, which he is a customer, so I'm hoping he'll show up back in the shop here soon, and I'll at least hear from him that way. I messaged him, I think, what was it, last week, and I never heard back from him.
Blake, you took in and encountered it, and was it your boss?
It was, which it was
Tell us a
actually
little bit about that.
Okay. So basically, my boss, he fishes Allatoona Lake, basically on a weekly basis. He was down there, I think it was Tuesday night of this last week. And he has heard some howls and things he really couldn't explain on the lake before. But this was the first encounter like he's ever really had on the lake that he couldn't explain. He was fishing back in a cove that's probably about 3 or 4 coves over from Macedonia Cemetery. And it was right before it. Well, it was. He said it was getting dark. It's pretty much dark, but it was still a little light outside where you could see. And he was fishing parallel with the bank, and he, I guess, out of his peripherals, he seen a rock come flying through out of the woods, about 20 foot in the air, about the size of a soccer ball. Yeah, he said he was about 40 foot from the woods. He said the best that he could figure out, because he did shine a light up in there after it come out, because I mean it startled him, and he couldn't see anything in the woods right there. He said they were no real big trees, the grass wasn't high, they were no laydowns, anything like that. Now probably about 60, 70 to 100 foot, the bank actually levels out at the top, so it's about a 45-degree angle. Then it goes up and then it levels out. I mean, the best thing I could think of is it came from the top. Whatever threw it came from up there. So it threw it over 100 foot, about a 30-pound rock. So
now, I understand this is pretty close to where we just did our last expedition, right? How close?
Within a mile. Within a mile. Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
He said it was over at Clear Creek, which is about a mile from the cemetery.
Yeah, I mean we know something's out there, so it just further proves it.
Yep, and I mean that is the side that all the reports come from, and within that probably 10-mile radius right there from all the way over to 75, back over to almost into Cherokee County there.
Blake, I missed that on the rock size. What size rock did he say?
About the size of a soccer ball.
big rock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be thrown, to be thrown that far. I mean, he said the only thing that he could, possibly be what it is, what it could have been would maybe been a turkey hunter, because they were one lay down that he said he could see, but he couldn't see behind it. But that makes no sense. Like, if a turkey hunter was wanting to run him out there, I mean, more likely he would have yelled at him or something like that. And for to throw a rock that far, I mean, that lay down, he said, was probably, a good almost 60 foot from where the bank was. So, I mean, that throwing a 35-pound rock that far and it being 20 foot in the air, I mean, I just don't see it.
No,
it's not happening.
I haven't run across turkey hunter that can do that yet myself. If I do, I'm gonna go the other way.
All right, everybody.
If he can do that, man, he don't need a gun.
That's right. All right, I just want to ask, before we get into tonight's guest, like always, want to ask everybody to check out our website, mannimalresearch.com. If you have any encounters you'd like to report, we would appreciate it. Give you an opportunity to come on here and share those with everybody, or if you don't want your name up there, we can keep it that way too. But yeah, go in there and report your sightings, your encounters, and also if you're interested in getting out and doing some research or going on an expedition with us, we have those options out there too. And everybody, if you're watching and you haven't already, please subscribe. It means a lot to us, guys. It helps us out. We're getting up there in subscribers. We got a long way to go, but yeah, guys, help us out. Hit that subscribe button. All right, about tonight, we have Mr. Brian, is it Sprague? Sprague, how's it pronounced, Blake?
I am not 100% sure how he pronounces it.
We got Brian with us. How about that? Brian actually is going to come on and talk about an encounter he had. He saw a couple of Bigfoot, got really close to them in Northern California, I believe, years ago. I'm not sure on the exact date, but I met Brian on our last expedition. Him and his wife came by, and Brian wanted to meet everybody, and we hung out and talked for a few minutes. And from what I gathered from Brian, he seemed like a real good guy. He seemed honest. He's ex-military, and everything about him just talks about military. You get that presence about him, that feel that he was military. He seems down to earth, seems like a real good guy and honest. And all of that being said, Brian is going to come on and be working with Blake. They're working with all of us. They're working closely with Blake in North Georgia, doing some research for us. Brian's been interested in the subject for a long, long time, ever since his encounter, and has finally decided to get out there and get his boots on the ground and do some research himself. And we're happy to have him. And yeah, I think he's going to do great.
Yeah, he's a pretty awesome guy. Guy. And as far as his story, I'm gonna be honest, I've never even heard his full story. So this would be a first for all of us.
Yeah. He started telling us some of it last week or 2 weeks ago, and man, I just kept wanting to ask him more and more and more, but I had to stop myself because I wanted to keep it, I wanted to hear it all with everybody else. But man, it's going to be a good one, guys. I can tell you that. Ricky, you got anything else? Or Blake, you got anything?
Did you get that from Todd H there? He said that your mic doing that. It's not bad, just kind of static on it.
Okay, I wonder what I can do about that. Okay, we'll just keep an eye on it. All right, you guys got anything before we bring Brian on?
No, I just want to say I'm very, very thankful to have him part of the team.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I agree, Blake.
Oh yeah, me too.
There he is. Brian, pronounce your last name, buddy.
Sprague, Brian Sprague.
Brian Sprague.
Yep.
All right, we talked you up a little bit Brian, what branch of the military were you in?
United States Army.
United States Army. Well, first off, before we do anything, thank you, sir, for your service.
You're welcome, and I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah, like we were saying, I had a chance to meet you a week and a half or so ago, and
Yep.
seemed like a real good guy. And your story, man, it had me right there, captivated. I wanted to hear more, but I was able to hold off till tonight, and I'm excited to get the whole story from you, buddy. Before this happened, you were in the military when it happened, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You were on leave. So before this happened, what was your knowledge of the subject, and were you a believer? And just take it from there, buddy.
At the time, I knew very little about it. I mean, I think like anybody else, you'd stuff with Leonard Nimoy. It's about the only thing I'd ever seen. I'd never heard of the Patty film at that time, none of that. So I really didn't know anything about it. Didn't have no interest in it, didn't care, you know. Hear anything like that, Bigfoot, Sasquatch is like a ghost story or fairy tale. You're like, man, y'all are nuts, you know. But I'll tell you what, your mind gets changed quick.
Yeah.
And when myth becomes reality, it's a paradigm shift. It'll kick you right in the nuts and change your whole world.
I believe you.
Unfortunately. But yeah, it was a pretty wicked encounter.
All right. Well, what were you doing that day? And just go on into it, and the floor is yours, buddy.
All right. This is late September 1991. Again, like you said, I was on leave from the Army. A couple weeks off up in the mountains, hiking, camping, doing all that good stuff. It was outside of a town called Rough and Ready, Northern California, close to the Yuba River. Hiking trails out there. I went to this new trail to hike out there I'd heard about. Anyway, it's there's old gold mining trails and all kinds of stuff from the early 49ers when they were gold panning all them rivers, and old logging roads and old roads. And it was like an old roadbed I was on. I was parked off the side of the road. There wasn't no parking areas or nothing like that. I mean, these are old 2-lane roads back then. There's no telling what they look like now. I mean, 30 years ago. Just walking these old roads, just getting out there in nature. And I left the car. I was probably a good mile back in the woods. This is mountain country too. This ain't the hill country like we have in Georgia. These ain't mountains here. I mean, them mountains of the Sierra Nevadas, they are rough. They are rough, steep mountains. I got to give it to them 49ers back then. They were tough men to cut trails in this stuff. But like I said, it's probably about a mile back. Probably maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to dark. So I was actually getting close to turning around and going back anyway. It was just something to do at the time, just get out and do something. It's pines, there's hardwoods, there's more pines than anything. I'm coming up over this little ridge on the trail. There's like a rock and boulder cliff face to the left with little pine trees growing out of it and little stubbly stuff, ridge up above, mountains keep going, but off to my right, it sloped down to the right. I'm plateauing this little hill. Like I told you before, it's a weird story. So I haven't told a lot of people just because it is weird. A lot of people call it woo. I don't call it woo. I call it real life. This stuff happens. So anybody says it's woo, that just upsets me. Because people see stuff like this, they tell their stories, they get laughed at, they get ridiculed, and that's just not cool.
No, it's not.
Honest, hardworking people see stuff, they tell you something, there ain't no reason to put them down. Thousands and thousands of people have seen this woo stuff, and it ain't right to treat them the way they do. So, I kept my mouth shut for 20 years on it. I didn't start telling people nothing about this till 10, 11 years ago. And, oh boy.
You're fine, Brian. You're fine, buddy. Just you ain't gonna catch no grief here. Just that it's important that we hear, from people who have encounters, because we have to learn behavior, and the best way to learn behavior is from eyewitness encounters.
No, you're absolutely right. Just going back there and remembering this stuff is, I mean, I had night terrors for weeks. I mean, nightmares. I mean, paranoia. You couldn't sleep. It kept me out of the woods for a long time. Anyway, back to what happened. I'm climbing this little ridge, going over the plateau, over the top. You know, it's slow embankment down the other side before it drops off the mountain again and goes up another ridge. But off to my right, I hear a crack. I mean, this wasn't a little branch break. This sounded like a whole tree snapped in half. Just pow! Jumped out of my damn skin. You know, froze solid. What in the heck is that? I turned to my right. And y'all seen a mirage. Heat coming off hot asphalt, the mirage. Looks like you're looking through like saran wrap or something, you know. Off to my right, I see this shimmering by a tree. My first thought is, when the hell somebody got a fire by a tree down there? You know, I'm thinking it's a heat fire. But there's no smoke or nothing. I'm sitting here looking at this thing, scratching my head. There's nothing there except this shimmer. And this is probably 60, 70 yards down the hill. I mean, it's down there, bottom of the tree. And while I'm sitting here looking at this, you know, this rock cliff on the left with this little boulder patch, there's these two boulders. You know, I can see it out of the corner of my eye. There's a good sized boulder and a taller boulder, but I'm thinking of boulders. Out of the corner of my eye, I see that little boulder shoot up the cliff. And when I say shoot up, I mean, it climbed. It didn't fly or nothing, but it was fast. And while I'm turning my head back, the other boulder is raising. You know, in my mind, this is a boulder. It's a rock, a giant rock. And this thing is standing up. And I get my eyes on it, and it's going up and up and up. And this thing is 9 foot tall, 9 foot plus tall, and it ain't no rock. I'm telling you what, that puts the fear of God in you right there.
Now, what was it you were seeing? You were seeing the Sasquatch?
Yes. Yeah. You know, peripheral vision, and what I seen climbing over that hill was a boulder patch. You know, where stuff had fallen off the cliff face. Well, a couple of them weren't rocks. They was crouched down there, squatted.
Okay.
I'm 100% sure what they was doing. I didn't see them till they started moving out of the corner of my eye. But the only thing I can think is that was a youngin' shot up, ran away, climbed that cliff, and got the hell out of there. And I think that was, I don't know. It was a daddy. It was a male. It wasn't no female that was next to him. But this sucker stood up. He was 9 feet tall, 9.5 easy. And every bit of 1,000 pounds. Every bit. Every bit.
Now, how far away were you?
I was about 20 yards, about 60 feet. 60 feet, around 20 yards. Not far. Not far at all.
Now, did you only see the rear of them, or did you actually see any?
Just the front.
Them from the front? From the front. Facial features. What are some of the key points that you noticed about the creature?
Well, he had red hair, dark red hair, almost brown, but it was more red than anything. He's probably 3.5 foot wide, if not 4 foot wide. His arms were, I mean, bigger than my leg and long. Arms hung down past his knees. I mean, his legs were bigger than telephone poles. Huge chest. I mean, ungodly. I mean, he was almost as deep as he was wide, his chest. I mean, his chest was front to back was easily 2.5 feet. I mean, just monstrous. Shoulders, unbelievable. I mean, there ain't a bodybuilder on the planet got anything on these things. I mean, the most muscular thing I've ever seen in my life. And you could see the muscles through the hair, the definition. I mean, just everything bulged. Everything. You know, a lot of people say they got a cone head. This did not have a cone head. He had a rounded head.
No, that was one of the things I was just about to ask you.
He had a rounded head. Not see ears. He had hair all over his face, like a real kind of a shaggy, scruffy beard, not a full beard, just facial hair.
Now, if you could describe the face the best way you could, would it be human? Would it be some type of primate? I mean, far as like an ape or something like that, or
this was not. This had a human face. Now, I don't know, Native American, primitive human maybe, but it looked more Native American than anything. Now, he had a narrow nose. A lot of people say these things have big, wide, flared. No, he had a narrow, a thin nose. Nostrils were not huge. I couldn't see up in his head like a gorilla or anything like that. I mean, he had the what do they call it? Hooded nose or shrouded nose? What is it called?
Pug nose?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, human-like nose.
Now,
What was really odd, the space between the nose and the mouth. We put a finger up and we're at our top lip. You put 3 or 4 fingers up and you were at his top lip. So
so his nose was up more close to the eyes.
Yeah, it was up a little higher, but
Okay.
it's still more Native American look than anything. Skin was real dark black, or dark charcoal black color. Greasy, oily skin. Dark, evil looking eyes. I mean,
Okay.
black.
Yeah,
evil eyes.
I want to come back to more definitive, definition, more, as far as details of the face and everything. But we'll definitely come back to that. But
Okay.
when he stood up, what happened? What happened next?
I was froze solid. I couldn't move. And this thing looked me in the eye. Now we're going to get back to the weird. Now, I've told everybody everything on this because of the weird. A voice in my head said, "You're not supposed to be here." Now, this wasn't a voice I heard. It was almost as if I felt it.
Telepathically.
Inside my head said, "You ain't supposed to be here." And I'm frozen solid. I can't move. I'm paralyzed. I mean, I'm trying to move and I can't. And I ain't gonna lie, I peed myself. That's about the only function I had at the moment. There wasn't nothing I could do about that. I mean, it just happened. Yeah, it was weird. That voice in my head was weird. I've never had that before. Now, I don't know what they call it, telepathy or mind speak or whatever they call it. I don't know what it was. I don't know what to call it. But I've never had that happen to me since.
Now, it sounded like a different voice other than your own.
Yes.
Saying this.
It was a different voice. It was very, very odd, very hard to explain. But what my voice?
Now, weird question. What was it a male voice? I mean, like, if you could describe the voice, did it have any key?
It was a deep voice. It was a deep voice. I would assume it'd be male, but I don't really know. I mean, I would assume that.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it was a deep voice. It wasn't raspy. It was crystal clear. It was clear. I mean, in my brain, that's why I said it's weird. I felt it as much as I heard it. I felt the words. I didn't hear them through my ears. Tell you what, it's freaky. It's freaky having that happen.
Yeah, one of our viewers right here, Todd A, says there's reports of that and light distortion. So a lot of the things you're talking about, there are reports.
Yeah. Yeah, I've read quite a few actually, but those have been recent too. That's recently people have been reporting stuff. Maybe for the same reason I did. If people think I'm nuts, you know.
Okay, so what happens next?
I'm sitting there scared to death, and this thing's staring at me, and then I hear, "You need to go," and I'm standing there froze solid, and in my head I feel, "You need to go," and I'm sitting there. I can't move. I can't go. In my mind, I'm saying, I can't go. I can't move. And next thing he says, or whatever it was, says, "You go now." And when it said now, like I was released. But when it said now, it freaking roared. It screamed at me. An ungodly, evil. It's the only way I can explain it is evil. But this roar was so loud and so forceful, it was like your insides were hit with a sledgehammer. My whole inside rasped and shook. I mean, I'm standing there trembling. And this roar was like a lion, an elephant, a jet engine, a tractor trailer, all in one. I mean, there was high pitches, there was low pitches. I mean, this scream was physically jarred you. It physically rattled you. You felt it.
Now
it was like an earthquake inside you when this thing roared at me. 60 feet away. I mean,
now this was a real scream, not mind speak, not telepathy, right?
Real scream.
Okay.
Because when he screamed, his mouth opened. And I'm telling you, when his mouth opened, you could fit a basketball in that mouth.
Now, do you think you experienced what they consider infrasound when it screamed?
I don't know if it was infrasound. I think it was just reverberation from the power of his lungs. I don't think it was infrasound. You know, just like when you stand in front of a speaker, you get the sound waves off the speaker.
Brian, let me ask you this, bud. Do you actually think at that moment, if you had not have left, do you think this creature would have hurt you?
Yes. I think I was in deep danger. I was in danger. I absolutely think if I stayed, I'd have either hurt me or killed me. I honestly think that was his young one. I don't know this for sure, but I think I've stumbled on a family group. I think, I was wearing a pair of high top Reeboks. The ground was wet. I wasn't making no sound walking in. And I think I stumbled on them. I think coming up that hill, they were on the other side of the hill, and I was making going over. You know what I mean? I think I snuck up on them. I think I caught them by surprise. I really do. I don't know if that was Mama down there with that shimmering down there by the tree. I don't know what the hell was down there. But that was alien. That was weird. That was unearthly. But I don't know if it was unearthly. You know, people say paranormal. How do we don't know what paranormal is? How do we know that that's not normal and our brains are thinking it's wired the wrong way?
Yeah.
You know? What's normal? What isn't? You know, there's stuff out there we got no clue. No clue. You know, and people we learn from, well, who are they learning from? You know, nobody knows what normal is. How do we know that's not normal? And we pushed that out over the years. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I think humans are ignorant on some things that are out there.
Yeah.
There's so many closed-minded people in this world.
Yeah,
you know, we believe what we're taught, and that's, you know, if it's out of that realm, then there's no way it's possible type situation.
Yeah. So if it's something that can't wrap their fingers around, they call it paranormal. When in all actuality, it probably is normal, and we just don't know any better because we're too afraid of it.
Well, you know, look how the Native Americans looked at things. You know, that stuff like that people report in the Bigfoot world or whatever you want to classify it as. I mean, even paranormal. it's a lot what they believed.
Well, it's all normal to them.
Yep.
It's all natural to them. We're the ones who don't believe it. I mean, I believe it. I see it. You know, I'm at a point in my life, you know, I'm 48 years old. I really don't give two shits what anybody thinks about me anymore. I really don't. You know, this is my first interview. I've had other opportunities, and this is my first interview. You know, I've had enough of hiding behind anything. So, people need to know. They need to know what's out there in them woods when they're camping, when they're fishing, when they're hiking. There's stuff out there that can't be explained.
There are a lot of people have encounters like you that never want to speak about them. And I mean, well, I thank you for coming on here and, you know, sharing with us.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
This brought back some memories that got me shook up a little bit.
So when this thing finally told you get out of here now, and you were able to move, you know, what happens then? You just hightail it out of there, or they come after you, or what happens?
I turned around and I ran. As soon as he let me loose and I was able to spin around, I was gone. Now, mind you, I'm 18, 19 years old at the time, and probably in the best shape of my life being in the Army. And I don't know how fast I made that mile, but I made it quick. But that son of a gun chased me. You know, you run, you hear your footsteps. I mean, I was getting it. And behind me, I hear thud. And I'm thinking, this guy is about to eat my lunch. He's going to get me. I've done made him mad, and all I did was walk in. And I'm like, just let me get in my car. Let me get in my car. Just let me get in my car. You know, get me out of here. You know, I hear this thing behind me, and I'm telling you, he's right behind me. I mean, he's about to grab me. Every nerve fiber in my being saying he's about to snatch you by the head, boy. That's how close he sounded. But if he wanted me, I wouldn't be here right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you that. But he let me go. I made it in my car and I got gone.
Yeah, I believe that firmly.
But
if he wanted you, he would have had you.
When I got out far enough where I was close to my car, I turned around and looked. There wasn't nothing there, man. But them foot stomps were there. I don't know if he was off the path to the side, but it seems like I'd have heard him running through them trees and brush. I don't know. It's just weird. Just weird.
So all in all,
so you never actually heard anything other than just the footsteps?
No. Nope. Never heard no more screams. Never heard just footsteps. Just stomp.
Never heard him coming through the brush or anything?
None of that. Now, mind you, I'm terrified. My ears might be a little shut, you know. My blood pressure's up. There ain't no telling, but I'm getting in my car. But, you know, I remember hearing my footsteps and his, and that's it. I don't hear birds. I don't hear nothing around me. I'm getting in my car.
You're just focused on getting out of there at that point.
No, it's fight or flight. I'm flying. Ain't no fighting that. So.
Now, before the encounter, you're walking along. Did anything happen to lead you to believe that something might not be right? I mean, did you have a weird feeling? Did you notice a smell? No sounds?
Nothing. Birds were chirping, squirrels were running, leaves were falling. Normal wood sounds. I have had other experiences where there's been silence in the woods, but that was not there. That was actually here in Georgia when I used to deer hunt. But I don't know what that was either. But anyway, those are other stories. But no, there was no indication of anything being wrong. Nothing. Usually there's a predator in the area. You don't hear them squirrels. You don't hear the birds. You know, they know. They know when something's around.
Yeah.
There was no indication. Nothing. You know, and I'm 18, 19 years old. I ain't that experienced in the woods then either, you know, so.
Yeah.
Not like later. I mean, I spent a lot of time deer hunting. You know, when I got to Georgia, 96, I learned how to deer hunt. Spent a lot of hours and a lot of time doing it. So I learned the woods pretty good, you know, since the time I got here. I ain't been in the woods in a few years, but
Now, have you had any encounters or anything in Georgia since you moved down here?
I don't know that they were encounters. I never saw anything, but I have had a couple weird experiences, odd experiences, deer hunting. At times when I was deer. A couple times actually. One time I was out, and this is in Pickens County, backside of Revis Mountain where I used to hunt. There was one time I went out there, and I used to sit under trees. I didn't do a lot of tree climbing to hunt deer. I'd sit by a tree or sit under a tree and not move. I've killed more deer off the ground than ever in a stand. I'm just comfortable on the ground. But just one time the woods went dead quiet. Now I didn't see nothing. I mean, no squirrels, no bugs, no leaves falling, no wind in the leaves through the trees. It's like you're in a vacuum. I'll be honest, that rattled me a little bit. I mean, that is the spookiest thing in the world when you're out there in nature, where you know there's sound. There's so much sound you can't hear deer walking around. When there's 30 squirrels around, you can't hear yourself think. And to hear it all go silent all of a sudden, like you're in a vacuum.
Yeah, me and Rick had that happen quite a few times.
Oh yeah.
And I told my hunting buddies about it, and it didn't happen to them. They were on the other side of the property. A couple of guys I was hunting with, it never happened to them. They didn't feel or see nothing. They thought, guys, you're crazy. You blah blah. Yeah, whatever. Okay, I ain't gonna tell you that story no more. To them guys. Another time I was at the same place, and this awful wicked smell come out of the woods, out of the brush. Again, I didn't see nothing, I didn't hear nothing, but it was gagging. This is a place I hunted a lot. I knew this territory, I knew this property, and if there was a dead animal in there, I'd have known it before it smelled that bad. But never found it, never figured out what the smell was. But I hear a lot of stories about people smelling horrible smells that they can't hardly explain. And again, I'm not saying that was an encounter. I don't know, but it was odd.
Could you describe the smell at all? Was it like best way I can describe what I've smelled is a dirty dog / skunk / kind of just foul. I mean, can't really explain it, but that'd be the best way to explain it if I could, I guess.
Smell like rotten meat and garbage all at the same time. Rotten meat, garbage, feces, urine, you name it, all in one ball. It was probably one of the most nauseating smells I've ever smelled.
Yeah, Blake and I've encountered that.
What's that, Ricky?
What was that, Rick?
I said Blake and I have encountered that smell at the lake down at the cemetery quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess I'm in the minority because I haven't smelt it yet. That's probably a good thing, I guess.
Not a bad thing.
Not at all.
When you smell it.
So, Brian, remind us again, when did your sighting happen? What year was that?
1991.
91?
91, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
It was mid-late September 91. Somewhere in there.
And it's all been negative for you ever since, right? You want to talk about like how you've been treated and just like people's reception of it?
I'm sorry. You got a lot of staff.
I know, man. I don't know what's going on with this technical difficulty. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
We got a bad storm coming through where I'm at, and I'm the one hosting this, so I don't know if maybe the storm is interfering with our broadcast tonight, but maybe. I don't know, man. Y'all getting bad weather where y'all are at?
Yeah, we did a little while ago. But there's more coming.
Yeah, we've got a tornado warning going north of us right now.
No, I'll try to ask you one more time, Brian. What I was saying was, so this happened in 1991. How has your life what's happened to your life? How has it been ever since this encounter? What kind of reaction have you gotten from people?
Well, like I said, I've never told anybody until probably 10 years ago. And that was when my granddaughter and I were sitting. She was 5, 6, 7 years old, and we're sitting on the couch watching Finding Bigfoot, of all things. You know, I had her sitting right here, you know, her little head right here, my arm around her, you know, like you do with your grandkid. Or some show. It was some Bigfoot show. And, you know, she looked up at me, and she said, "Poppy, a Bigfoot real?" Oh, I can't believe she just asked me that. You know, I'm sitting here going, what in the world am I going to tell her? You know, she goes camping and fishing with mom and dad and family all the time. If I tell her they're not real, this is what's going in through my head. If I tell her they're not real and she runs into one in the woods, Poppy's a liar. So I tell you, yeah, Haley, they're real. They're real. Then I'm sitting there going, please don't ask. Please don't ask. And she asks, "How do you know, Poppy?" Oh, boy. That's the first time I told anybody. I told my granddaughter. And I didn't tell her the whole story. I just told her I seen one. I wasn't going to let her have nightmares over my encounter telling her, you know. I just told her I seen one when I was young and left it at that. You know, and then the usual barrage of, will they hurt you? Are they nice? Are they friendly? What do they eat? You know, what kids do? I'm like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
How many fingers and toes they got? What do they eat? Do they like bananas? I mean, I don't know.
Now, after your encounter, what was your initial thoughts after, you know, weeks after? Like, how long did it take you to really start, you know, questioning and trying to not really search for an answer of what you had seen, but kind of what got you into your research and everything?
It took quite a while, to be honest. I mean, there was no internet back then.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't hardly find any books on it. There wasn't nobody to call and talk to. I mean, basically, you were alone. You were alone. You go to a library, try to find something. There wasn't nothing there.
Yeah.
You know, you go try to talk to people about it. You don't want to talk to people about it. I mean, until the internet came along, there wasn't really a whole lot of information about it. I never really talked to anybody about it anyway. All I knew was when I got to my car, I learned that monsters were real that day. You know, everything everybody told me about monsters not being real,
Thrown out the window.
Wrong. Wrong. They are real. They're there. And humanity needs to know. And I'll tell you what, our government knows. I guarantee you that.
Well,
and the reason they're hiding it from us, I don't know what it is, but it ain't right. It ain't fair to these people going out there camping and hunting, knowing that these things are out there.
well, you know, I've had a government official tell me that they know they're here. So, I mean, I agree with you on that. Our government knows for whatever reason. They don't want us to know, but you know, I guess a few of them kind of speak out on it on their own terms. But
yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, that's like Wayne and I. A few weeks ago, we ran into a game warden. Well, actually, a couple of them over on Pigeon Mountain, and they kind of surprised me that night when we were standing there talking to them, and the warden actually told Wayne of various reports that they had of Bigfoot sightings around Pigeon Mountain over there. And you know, up until that point, that really struck me as being a little weird, because most of your government officials will not discuss things like that.
No.
You know, that guy was actually open with you, wasn't he, Wayne?
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's a little old man up in the town that I just moved from, Ray County. I'm not going to mention, you know, where, but he's a park ranger type person, and he looked me right in the eye and said, "Yeah, we've got him here." He said, "I've seen him. He's thrown rocks at me and he screamed at me."
Well,
This,
that's
yeah.
like, I've got my friend that I've never thought about far as getting any information from, but works for the DNR. I mean, he's the one I'm trying to get that information from over there at Johns Mountain. I mean, he told me that he's never seen any over there, but he has, people have told him stories, and he's talked to some people that's had, he's had two eyewitnesses that's actually seen two over there, and a guy that has found some footprints all within like a 3 or 4 mile radius over there. So I mean, you'll find your ones that'll tell you information. I mean, they're less to tell you information than it will.
Yeah, all right. Brian, I said we'd go back to the description. Is there anything you can add to like the face? And I found it really interesting what you said about the nose being higher than ours, because I've been sharing a lot of Thinker Thunker videos on our page, our Mannimal Research Facebook group, and that's one thing that he talks about as being something you can't fake, is how high someone's nose is. And
Yeah.
like Patty and the white Bigfoot in Virginia and a couple others that we have close up or we have footage of the face, that nose is setting up higher than ours does.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting when you brought that up.
Another thing, its mouth, it had very thin lips, very thin and very wide. I see all these artist drawings of this, that, and the other showing these big lips, big puffy lips. I mean, they got a wide mouth, but this thing looked, unnaturally wide. But very thin lipped. Skinny nose, thin lip, big space. Could not see the ears. Black skin, almost like old leather looking.
Wrinkly at all?
Worn, just weather worn. From what I could tell, it's 60 feet away. Eyes, maybe the size of tennis balls. His head had to be that wide. His head went right through his shoulders. There was no neck, but I think their back muscles go right up the back top of their head. And I think they got a neck, but I think it's buried under all that muscle. I really do. I don't know any other way to explain it. From the front, you see, like bodybuilders, you see that muscle bulge, muscle bulge. The front of him, it was like from here was muscle bulge.
Right. If you go back and
wide though, this is massive.
If you go back and look at the Patty film, the Patterson Gimlin film, you can actually tell as she's walking away the way the muscles actually run up the back of her neck and the higher line. I agree with you completely.
One of our viewers has a question there. Can you read that, Brian?
Yeah. Do you remember it having any kind of facial expression like, oh yeah, it was pissed off. It was not a happy camper. It was angry I was there. It was angry.
You think you could tell that from its facial expressions?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that the thing was kind of reddish in color, right?
It was kind of like a mature, older orangutan. That dark
reddish
red.
brown. Yeah.
Not that bright red, carrot top looking red, but dark.
Like an orange kind of?
Yeah, but darker. Like in between red, orange, and brown, but kind of all mixed up.
Okay.
Okay.
The hair on its forearms was really long. The hair on its main arms wasn't that long, maybe 2-3 inches, but the hair on its forearms hung down. If that was me, I'd want to cut that off. That'd be just annoying as. It was both arms just had this big wild lump of hair. This wasn't kempt hair. This was matted, dirty, wild animal hair.
Yeah.
The hair on its body wasn't long, probably 2, 3, 4 inches. Some places maybe 6 inches, but he had hair everywhere. Except probably from here up Under his lip didn't have no hair, just a little scruffy beard. I mean, he had hair everywhere else. He had longer hair on his head. I don't know how long. I mean, honestly, I don't know how. I don't remember that. But I mean, it was different length all over, but it was pretty much one color.
Okay, now you said he was facing you, right?
Yeah.
And you're sure it was a male?
You know, when I was walking on him, but when I turned my head, he turned to me. Remember, I was looking at that shimmering down here, and I seen that out of the corner of my eye. When I started turning my head, when he was standing up, about the time I made eye contact, he turned and faced me. And when he faced me, he bowed up. I mean, like every muscle in his body flexed. He was showing his stuff. That was an intimidation. He was trying to intimidate me.
Now, keeping it as family friendly as possible. You said you were sure it was a male.
He's a male.
Did you see anything down there?
He had genitalia, yes.
Okay, was he blessed?
He was proportional to what his size was.
So you definitely could see it from 60 feet away.
It was semi-rigid, yeah. He was.
Okay.
I don't go too far with that. I mean.
Yeah. Just wanted to make sure that you could see it, because you know, people report seeing it all the time, and then some people report that they can't see it. So.
No, he was excited.
Okay. So 100% he was a male.
He was a male, no doubt.
Okay, man, that had to be just absolutely terrifying, and for you to be able to keep it in all that time, man, that just had to be hard too.
If it was today, I'd have probably had a heart attack and died right there. At my age, I don't know what I'd have made it. I might have just laid right down right there. That's how scared I was. My heart was beating up in my head. I mean, it's terrified ain't the word. Petrified. I mean,
well,
it's a huge. I keep saying paradigm shift, but it scrambles your brain. Your whole view of reality and what exists out there and what you've been taught, like I said, what you've been taught, monsters ain't real, this stuff ain't real, that ain't real. Now here in this one time, within a few seconds, I've seen weird stuff down here off the mountain. I've seen something fly up a hill, and now I got a monster staring me down, all at the same time. Now this stuff ain't supposed to happen. What just happened here? You know, this stuff ain't supposed to happen. Why did it happen? Why did it happen to me? Why did I have to be? You know, why? Why'd they have to be there today? I just wanted to go enjoy my time in the woods. I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
You know,
now,
I didn't want to live my life. I don't want my granddaughter asking me if they're real.
Yeah. Do you think that first thing you saw, do you think that could have been a light orb?
No. Too tall, too wide, too big. Oh, you mean what shot up the mountain or the shimmering?
The shimmering.
No, that was not an orb. You know, you hear about this cloaking, Bigfoot cloaking.
So it was just distortion almost, just like.
But it sure makes a lot of sense to me. Something down there busted to get my attention off these two over here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I said. I don't know if I stumbled on a family group, but whatever shot up that mountain was little. Probably a third the size of what the big one was when they were crouched down in the boulders, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I can think, Juvenile, Daddy, and Mama over there. Mama warned them I was coming. Juvenile took off. Daddy stood up to defend. That's the only thing I can think after all these years.
Makes sense.
Now,
Complete sense.
You know, when people started talking about cloaking not long ago and this shimmering, I'm like, that's what I saw 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And people are just now coming out with it.
Yeah.
But in my mind, that was a family group I stumbled on. The wind was blowing in my favor. The sound was right. It was just perfect storm for me to walk up on them. That's just my opinion. Thinking about it all.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
That's how I feel about my sighting. Just perfect place, perfect time. Wasn't supposed to really happen, but it did.
Yep.
You know,
But luckily, I didn't have as close an encounter as you did.
You know, man, you the other day,
encounter.
if you want to see one again, and I don't know. I don't know. If it's a peaceful encounter, I still don't know. I mean, I don't need validation. I know what I saw. So I don't need to see one again. You know, I don't need to find foot tracks. I don't need to find hair on bushes. I know they're there. I know they're there. You know, I don't need to justify what I've seen because I've seen it.
Yeah, that's right. What was you saying, Ricky?
Oh, I was just going to say that I think that's something that we all go through with it. That once we see these things, that we, for some reason, we're in the right place at the right time to actually encounter these things.
Wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Either way you want to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way.
All right, guys. We're. Go ahead, Brian.
I didn't feel blessed. I mean, I do now. 30 years later, I'm starting to feel that way. But
oh yeah. Well, guys, we're right here at an hour. We did pretty good tonight. Just want to thank Brian for coming on and sharing it. I know it wasn't easy, buddy, but I appreciate you doing it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian, for working with me.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to it,
Being
buddy.
part of the team.
Yeah. Again, welcome aboard, Brian. Glad to have you, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, Brian, we're looking forward to getting out in the field and working with you, buddy.
Me too.
Yeah, hopefully all this mess will be over with and we can all get out and get, as a group.
Yeah.
Yep, we
Looking
will.
forward to it. All right, Brian, you have a good night, buddy.
You too. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
All right, guys. Brian's a good guest.
Mm-hmm.
Sure was.
Appreciate you you sending him our way, Blake.
Yeah, we're blessed to have him part of the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sure are. Guys, and his encounter and him coming on and telling and sharing his encounter with us and with our viewers, I really appreciated it. And I'm like him, with what I saw years ago, even mine was a mundane encounter compared to what Brian had.
Even my encounter.
Right. If my first encounter with these things would have been like Brian's, I might not have been sitting here today. I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth about it, guys. I don't know if I could have stood it. I really don't. I don't know if I could stand running up on one today, even with all I know about them, and the research I've done as far as a face-to-face encounter with something, the way Brian explained his, I don't know if I could take it.
Yeah, I don't know. I would not want to have a face-to-face encounter like that. I mean, mine was close enough. I never, that was good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad that to get the kind of answers that we're looking for, that's what it's going to take, though,
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. Good show. Again, ask everybody, go to the website, mannimalresearch.com. Check it out. Let us know what you think. If you had any encounters, hit us up, share them, and we'll try to get your story out there if that's what you want. If not, we'll still learn from it. Also, guys, go ahead and subscribe if you don't mind. We sure would appreciate it. Guys, y'all got anything else before we get out of here? This weather's terrible, man. I'm hoping that that's the only reason our technical issues were here tonight.
Well, Wayne, I'd just like to remind everyone, be safe out there in your endeavors in the woods. And as Brian explained tonight, if you have a face-to-face encounter with these things, and just like Brian said, that thing meant to hurt him. If he had not have left when he did, that thing, he said he had no doubt that it would have killed him. And folks, please. And I say this every week. Please be careful out there. If you have an encounter with these things, back out, let them have it. Don't try to stand there and play brave with these things, because it's not going to get you anywhere but dead.
Well said, Ricky. Blake, what else you got, buddy?
Nothing, brother. I mean, that was the first time me hearing his actual whole story. I've heard bits and pieces, but he said it was weird, and it's definitely a unique experience. I mean, and just him having it 30 years ago, then like he was saying about all the, people coming out about the cloaking and stuff like that. I mean, it's just validation. That's all it is.
Yeah. I don't know what to think about all that stuff, but I mean, you can't dismiss it. So many people are seeing it, man. Not everybody's lying, so, and I believe Brian. So there's something to it,
Especially with Brian. I mean, if somebody like that was doing an attention to be a story, they tell it to everybody. But him, waiting so many years to really even talk about it, I mean, he has no reason to to not be truthful about the situation. So, because I'm with you on that. I've always been on the fence about the cloaking, but when you have somebody like that has an encounter, I mean, it can't help but open your eyes to it a little bit.
Yeah. All right, guys. All that being said, we will get off here, and we will see you next week. Guys, everybody out there, y'all take care of each other. Be good to each other, and let's get through this thing best way we can. Guys, we'll see you next time.